Peace and blessings, people. Welcome back to the channel once again, where we talk all things health and healing from a holistic perspective, and today will be no different. Today I'm going to talk to you about 4 foods that you eat almost every day that is literally thieving away your health. It's the cause of most of your health problems, most of the symptoms that you're receiving, the digestive issues, the skin problems. Most of your problems are coming from these 4 foods, okay? So if you can start to be more conscious about your food selection and start to see how much of this you're actually eating, then you will start to be able to change your habits. That's the most important thing. Now, as I get into what those 4 foods are, what's important to know and understand, health is this all-encompassing holistic picture. It's not just what you eat physically through your mouth, but it's also what you put on your skin, what goes through your ears, what you watch on TV, but it's also exposure to nature and sunlight. It's also how much water you're drinking throughout the day, stress levels. It is this all-encompassing thing. But what I've always found to be true is that it's very difficult to want to do all of those other things if you're eating a trash diet, just to keep it real. If you're eating foods that is killing your gut, that is killing your mood, that is not giving you energy, it's going to be very difficult to exercise, to want to be in nature, okay? To actually balance stress or manage stress. All of these things become difficult. So this is why I start with the foundation, which is your relationship with food, okay? So these are the 4 foods, the 4 toxic foods that you are probably eating every day that's ruining your health and causing most of the symptoms that you're experiencing. I have people ask me all the time, Dr. Price, I'm having this eye issue. What do you think it is? Dr. Price, my blood pressure is high. What do you think it is? Dr. Price, I've got this inflammation in my hips and my knees. What do you think it is? I'm trying to tell you, for the most part, these 4 foods is really what's causing a lot of the issues, okay? So let's get into it. Number 1, sugar, high fructose corn syrup, or other sugar derivatives. In my book, Vegucation Over Medication, I talk about how there's over 70 different names for sugar, different types of sugar, okay? What's important to know and understand, and I'm going to reiterate this while we go out throughout this video, is that sugar by itself does not exist in nature. It is always in something. So once you start pulling sugar out of beets, pulling sugar out of cane, pulling sugar out of fruit, once you start to do that, you have made something that is perfect and healthy now an abomination and something that is toxic. And so much of these sugars that most people are eating today is not only not from nature, but is actually very synthetic and man-made, especially things like high fructose corn syrup. And on average, the average person consumes about 152 or 150 pounds of sugar every year. 150 pounds of sugar every year. And this is not only causing issues with your blood sugar, but it's also causing issues with your immune system. Enough sugar can paralyze your immune system. So when you got that sweet tooth, it's not just this sweet tooth that we sort of chuckle about. That sweet tooth is not only causing cavities in your teeth, but it's causing cavities everywhere else in your body. Listen, if sugar can rot teeth, you don't think it can rot tissues? Okay? This is why I tell people, like, the connection between sugar and cancer is parallel. Okay, if sugar can rot teeth, you don't think it can rot tissues? Okay, that's why when you look at diabetics, which we know is a blood sugar issue, when you look at diabetics, they're the leading, one of the top. When you're diabetic, you're almost number 1. You have a number 1 risk factor for blindness, okay? Rots the eyes, okay? Amputation. Rots the limbs, the tissues, okay? Kidney disease, okay? Because sugar turns into acidity in the body too. So all that acidity rots the kidneys, okay? High blood pressure. I could go on and on and on, okay? when you start to think about the number one risk factors that diabetes leads to, yeah, sugar. Same way it rots teeth, it rots everything else. So sugar is a toxin. It's not only a toxin, it is an addiction. Okay? It's been proven that sugar is far more addictive than most illicit drugs. Okay? So number one, and you don't even know how much sugar you're eating. I told you on average, most people are consuming about 150 pounds of sugar every year. And we were to lay that out right here, right now, so you could actually see your number. Because some people that number is higher, some people that number is slightly lower. But if we were to lay that out so you could actually see it right here, this is the amount of sugar that I'm consuming, it will be real, but it's hidden in everything. Sugar's in ketchup, it's in salad dressings, it's everywhere. And they know to put it everywhere because they know you're addicted to it. And the more sugar that they have in their products, the more likely you're gonna buy it, you're gonna eat it and consume it and go back and buy another one, all right? So the first toxic food that most people are eating every day, I would say, if you don't have any standards for your diet, you are eating added sugar every day, okay? And this is chipping away at your health. Number one, sugar, all right? Number two, white flour. White flour. Again, people just don't know how much they're consuming. White flour in breads, pastas, baked goods, you name it. People are consuming around about 135 pounds of white flour. So the next time you go and buy that bag of white flour, about 135 pounds of that. That's how much of that they're consuming. And what people don't know about white flour is a poison to the body, okay? It's been processed, refined, and they process and refine it with chemicals, okay? With bleach. Okay, you ever grab your flour and it says unbleached? Okay, it says unbleached because typical flour is bleached. And I'm talking about the same kind of bleach you would use when most people are cleaning clothes, which you shouldn't even use it to clean clothes. Most people don't know that. But let alone using it on something you're actually going to consume, that's going to still be in your food. Okay? It's not only going to be like a glue inside of the gut. It not only has gluten in it that's going to ruin the gut and cause inflammation all over the body, but it's loaded with chemicals. It has no nutrients in it. The reason why it's white flour is because it's been bleached. That means that all of the nutrients that once was in it is now gone. It doesn't exist. All of the fiber is pulled out of it. No fiber, no nutrients. This is the value of a plant. Fiber and nutrients, phytonutrients, vitamins, minerals, trace elements. That's the value of a plant. They remove all of that. And then they enrich it with synthetic vitamins like folic acid. Folic acid is toxic. I need to do a video on folic acid. The kind of folic acid they add back to enhance or enrich products, it's not only bad for adults, but it's really horrible for children and their development mentally as well too. And most of those cereals that people are consuming that we're giving to our children every day, you're giving them doses of that very, very toxic form of folic acid, among other things. Among the fact that this has no nutrients in it, no fiber, okay? It's gonna turn into a glue inside of the system. It has gluten in it that's going to inflame the gut and the system itself too. It's going to cause brain fog and so many other things. It's important to know when you think about white flour, it's a toxin, okay? It is a toxin. There's no other way to look at it, okay? And I'm just keeping it real. It is a toxin, okay? When you think about what it does to our body and how much we're consuming on an annual basis, 135 pounds. So add that together, okay? The 150 pounds of sugar, and then 135 pounds of white flour, okay? You can see why we're so unhealthy and so obese and so overweight, because sugar turns into fat. Excess sugar turns into fat. Fat doesn't make you fat, okay? Fat doesn't make you fat, all right? Number three is processed foods. I mentioned this before, but I have to always reiterate it. If you don't have standards for your diet, meaning I don't eat this, I focus my diet on fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. If you don't have standards, 70% of your diet is processed, refined foods like that flour I was talking about. And guess what? Just like the white flour, all the fiber has been removed, all the nutrients have been removed, and they put synthetic vitamins like folic acid, which is very toxic to our body. Okay, toxic to children, toxic to adults. So processed foods in box, bags, cans, jars. One of the most toxic foods that you can consume is processed meats. Okay, processed meats like turkey ham, like turkey and ham and bacon, hot dogs. I can go on and on. Those processed meats have been classified as a level 1 carcinogen by the IARC, the governing body that determines what causes cancer and what is and isn't carcinogenic. It's a level 1 carcinogen in the same category as plutonium and asbestos, same category, and cigarettes. That processed meat. And guess what? It's banned in other countries, but good in the hood here. Okay? So just because something is on the shelf doesn't make it safe. We live in a country where our food is banned in most other countries. Okay? So hugely important. Processed foods, most people are consuming 70% of their diet is processed foods. 70%. I'm not exaggerating. 70% of the average person's diet, total daily intake, is processed foods. And people just don't know what processed means. Processed means toxic. Okay? So that's the number 3 toxic food that you're consuming every day that's pilfering away at your health, that's causing all of those issues, the inflammation, the blurred vision, the hair loss, the gut issues, the thyroid disorder. I can go on and on, okay? Because even a lot of these foods have heavy metals in them too, all right? So that's number 3. Number 4, the final one, seed oils. Seed oils. And it's not just the oils you cook with at home, because when I walk in and look at some of the oils that people are getting, when I tell you that it is a bottle of death, it is literally a bottle of disease, okay, and inflammation. And it's not only that, it's also, you have to understand, most restaurants are cooking with the worst types of oils. And not only are they cooking with the worst type of oils, they're reusing those oils over and over, and they're becoming more and more toxic as you add heat to it and take it away, and then add heat to it and then reuse it the next day. It's becoming more and more toxic to your body. So these seed oils that most people are consuming, not only in how you cook your food and how restaurants cook your food, but most processed foods, when you look at it, you're going to see these seed oils. So you're going to see soybean oil, you're going to see canola oil, you're going to see rapeseed oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, okay, corn oil, even grapeseed oil, which has been touted as a very healthy oil, but it's not, because it's made from that seed. And to be able to extract that oil from that seed, it requires chemicals in most cases. Okay? They use a chemical called hexane. If it sounds toxic, it's because it is. And when you're using these chemicals to pull this oil out of these seeds, it's going to cause a lot of issues. It creates high levels of omega-6 fatty acids, which is linoleic acid. Linoleic acid, okay? It's going to cause systematic. That means everywhere in your body is going to be inflamed, including your brain, okay? They use a lot of these chemicals. And the other thing is, these oils have no nutritional value. The only thing it has in it is fat, is 100% fat. No other benefits to it, all right? These oils are going to oxidize you, which means it's going to age you. So the more you eat of things that are sauteed, that are fried, especially fried, okay? I don't care if you're eating fried okra. You have taken a perfectly good food and you have made it into a toxin once you fry it. Once you deep fry it, same thing. That's what makes fries so dangerous. because potatoes absorb so much oil. All right. And then when you consume that, now you're consuming all of this oil that is going on in your body. And also, most of these seed oils are genetically modified, which means that they're sprayed with pesticides, herbicides, and insecticides. Now, throughout human history, the ratio, because you've heard of omega-3s, which are anti-inflammatory and good for you, but most people haven't heard of these omega-6s that are coming from these seed oils. Throughout history, the ratio in plants, you look at the ratio of omega-3s to omega-6s, it's usually been either a 1-to-1 ratio or a 2-to-1 ratio, more omega-3 fatty acids, okay, which are anti-inflammatory. Omega-6s are inflammatory, they inflame the body. Most people's diet, that ratio, they have 20 times more omega-6s than omega-3s. When you have a large number of omega-6s in your body and not enough omega-3s, it's going to lead to everything from, inflammation in the joints and the muscles, but also inflammation in the brain that leads to Alzheimer's and dementia as well, too. So if you love fried food, this is the point that you need to start saying, I need to shift how I get my food prepared or how I prepare my food. Okay? So those are the four toxic foods that most people are eating every day. I know that you were thinking that Dr. Price was going to be talking about meat and dairy, but I'm talking about these in addition that people don't even think about every day. So when you get your plate, start to think, how much sugar? Average person eats 152 pounds of sugar. How much of all this is sugar? How much of all this is white flour? How much of all of this is highly processed or ultra processed foods? How much of this has been processed or prepared with seed oils? Okay, and this will start to help you start to eliminate it from your diet and remove it from your diet, and you will start to see the benefits. I would guarantee you, if for 1 week you made sure no added sugar, no white flour, no processed foods, and no seed oils, do that for 7 to 10 days. First of all, you're going to get withdrawal symptoms because there's so much addiction. But after you get through that withdrawal period, you're going to notice that your health, your energy, your sleep, everything starts to go up. All right. So I hope you have enjoyed this. Until the next time, peace and blessings and Godspeed.